cultivation and management in region. As you are aware that bamboo is one of the important, woody grass, which is commonly cultivated in India since several years. Earlier, there were no, what to say is it was not intensive cultivation. On their fence or in the boundary just to demarcate their boundary or just to have, some sort of bamboo, one or two plants. Of late, people have started cultivating bamboo on a large scale. It is because, as you are aware, that the bamboo is considered as one of the poor man's timber, and now presently, India is the second largest producer of bamboo in the world. And in tropical region, we see many species which are naturally found, and of course, mainly used for construction purpose or sometimes for making furniture. And of late, some pulp industries have used bamboo, and later they have changed to some other species because of the non-availability. And in the recent years, again, the bamboo is gaining importance because of its utilitarian value in the field of plywood and other sectors. In spite of this, it is very important to say that though there are n number of species which are found in the region, but all are not useful for all the purposes. Although there are 100 species of bamboo that exist in tropical humid region, only few of them are commercially feasible to cultivate. So in order to derive maximum benefit from this bamboo cultivation, the selection and management of species is very, very important for the region. And at the same time, one has to select the most appropriate species so that one can get the maximum benefit either from the farming side or from the industrial side. One can get the maximum benefit. That is very, very important. So coming to the selection of species, as you are aware that tropical humid region is climatically characterized by high temperature and high rainfall and higher humidity. So the species which are selected for the region, they should be adapted to this climate, as most of the bamboo species can be grown in a wide range of agroclimatic zones, but the species which is matching to a particular site is very, very crucial to maximize the benefit. Based on the natural range of the species and the past experience with exotics, scientists over the different years have categorized or have classified the species which are suitable for specific agroclimatic zones. So according to based on the literature and according to our experience, there are 10 species which can be cultivated in the tropical humid region on commercial basis. They are Bambusa bambus, then Dendrocalamus strictus, Dendrocalamus toxi, Dendrocalamus brandisi, Dendrocalamus giganteus, Dendrocalamus asper, Thylacine oliveri, Godua angustifolia, Bambusa tulda, Bambusa pulcova. So these 10 species, they are very easily cultivated in tropical humid region. So the first two species, that is Bambusa bambus and Dendrocalamus strictus, in some parts of state of in some parts of southern India, especially in Karnataka, it is considered as a forest species, or the you can say that for the cultivation there is no problem. For harvesting and one requires the permission from the forest department. When very recently, I was told that they are going to remove this. But however, so because of certain difficulties, so let us not deal with these two species. I am going to deal other 8 species which are suitable for this region. I'll be giving importance for that. So the first one is Dendrocalamus toxi. Locally, it is called Sime bidiru or Shemi bidiru. So this is how the is looking like. You can see bamboo clump. So the stalk size, cultivation of turmeric along with bamboo here, and harvested bamboo poles, how it looks like. And this is the harvested bamboo pole from our own friend Shri J.K. Egde, who is a retired DF from Karnataka Forest Department, almost 45 feet length. So this is the Dendrocalamus stalk size. Coming to the Dendrocalamus brandy side, so all the the picture presentation from the right from the seedling, and when it is planted in the field 1 year old, and that is mature clump on the hand side, you can see the harvest. So Dendrocalamus brandisii, it goes even up to 60 to 70 feet tall in the humid region. So it's another important species that can be cultivated in this tropical region. So this is Dendrocalamus giganteus. Thanks to Dr. Bharati, shared. I mean, when I visited his place in Hosur, so the term of Dendrocalamus giganteus is so big, almost 1 feet diameter. Now it is so and this is the pictorial presentation of Dendrocalamus giganteus, the clump. The next is Dendrocalamus asper. Now, this is one important species which can be cultivated for the tropical region. And this is edible bamboo. So it is also called sweet bamboo. And the tender shoots are used like vegetables. One can harvest directly and one can consume that. Whereas other bamboo shoots, they need to be processed. Whereas this one is any soaking of water and all those things can be cultivated in this tropical region. So another one is so this is in I used to tell with the people in local language.
I think we have lost.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you, sir. We lost your connection for a while. So you may have to continue your slideshow from, okay, I have to give you the, yeah, you're still a co-host. Yes, sir.
That is okay. I was in this slide earlier.
Your slide is not yet started, sir. So, yes, sir. Good. Yes, sir. We can see you now. Please proceed.
Yeah. So this is this site is Oriveri. In local language, I used to call this as Lati Bidru. Lati Bidru means the police used to carry stick. It is more or less same size and that can be used for that purpose. So this is another important species which can be cultivated for the tropical region. There is some. Another species is Gadua anguistifolia. So this Gadua anguistifolia is another important species which can be cultivated in tropical humid region, because this, it is said that this is as strong as steel. This is South American bamboo. So this is also another important species which can be cultivated in this tropical region. So the next is Bambusa tulda. So you can see the bamboo plantation, and all of us, we were sitting in this. We visited that place, and somebody has created this is in Coorg only, and harvested Bambusa tulda also you can see. The next is Bambusa balcua. Is the founder of this bamboo. and it is also one of the important species that can be cultivated in this region. So now, knowing what are the species which can be cultivated economically for in the tropical humid region, the next issue is how bamboo cultivation has to be done. What are the aspects to be considered for bamboo plantation? So that that is going to play a crucial role. So the first aspect to be considered in bamboo cultivation or establishment of bamboo plantation is the selection and preparation of planting site. That is very, very important. We have to select the appropriate site, and accordingly the site preparation has to be done. Then the cost of planting material. Sometimes the cost of planting material is, if it is very high, so we have to think whether should I go for this species or should I go for alternate species. Then the method of propagation. See, sometimes seed origin, so we may get seedlings, sometimes we may get vegetative propagation, or sometimes the vegetative propagation in the sense, it is from macro, you can say that from vegetative part, macro cuttings, or sometimes, micro cuttings or tissue culture plants. So we have to see that. Then the mortality rate of the species, because the mortality replacement, it should not be more than 30%. Always it should be less than 30%. Then the next important issue is application of fertilizer, going for mulching, and all those. Then next, another important issue is protection. That is, how to protect the bamboo plants and from shootings, from fire, and from even wild animals. Then another important issue to be considered is intercultural operations and irrigation. Maybe the irrigation going to play a crucial role if you are cultivating, rain-fed irrigation or drip irrigation, or whether you have to go for, flood irrigation, or one can think of going for fertigation, all those things. Then the plantation management. So these are all the important issues to be considered when you are going for bamboo plant. So the first one, as I mentioned, the selection and preparation of site. As you're aware that bamboo comes up in a variety of soils. Productivity is seen in well-drained, sandy loam alluvial soils. The minimum soil depth for cultivation of bamboo should be 45 centimeters. There should be minimum 45 centimeters for bamboo cultivation, because bamboo is surface feeder. It will not go, the roots will not beyond 1.5 to 2 meters. So then another important issue to be considered is bamboo requires open sunshine. Always, bamboo requires, because since it is grass, it prefers to come in open sunlight, because we say strong light demander, and don't cultivate under the shade of any other crop. If you cultivate, the growth will not be proper. The optimum temperature range is also very, very important. The optimum temperature range is 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the rainfall should be between 900 to 1,000 degrees. And the altitudinal range of this bamboo should be around 300 to 3,000 meter above mean sea level. Another important thing is that, always I repeat, avoid waterlogged areas for planting of bamboo. If you want to cultivate such areas, you have to see that the water is in running or water is in motion. So such circumstances, bamboo growth will be good. So coming to the area we planted, first what we have to do is the site.
Kindly be on standby. Dr. Ramakrishna will connect again.
Yeah. So can you hear me now?
We can hear you, sir. You can resume the slideshow from the same point.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, the site preparation. The area to be planted is first leveled and cleared from stumps and debris if possible. One has to go for growing. So normally what happens in tropical humid region, so majority of the fields, they are either in sloping ground, or if they are in plain, what they use it, abandoned rice field, the land which was used for cultivation of rice, that will be because of the, various reasons. Now people are converting that rice field into bamboo plantation. So in such cases, one has to take the appropriate drainage of 1 meter by 1.5 meter. Then for every 10 meter, it is ideal, because the excess, which are during heavy rain season, so that to be drained out. Further, one may have to go for sub drains, and that need to be dug at 3 meter apart depending on the site conditions. So align the, the align and place the stakes to mark the spots for taking the pits, depending upon the species. Suppose if you are planting Dendrocalamus toxi, one can go for 4 meter or 6 meter, no doubt, or for other species also. Depending upon the species, the spacing, the marking has to be done. Once the marking is done, one has to take up the pits, dig the pits based on the size of the plant. Normally, even 45 centimeter by 45 centimeter by 45 centimeter, 1 cubic meter pit can be used for nursery grown plants. So once the pits are dug, the next step is one has to add 5 kilogram of vermicompost to each pit. Then in termite prone areas, that is very, very important. In termite prone areas, addition of anti-termite chemicals is must. Otherwise, the bamboo plants will be affected by the termite, or the termite, they may eat the roots of the bamboo plant, and it may destroy the plantation. So planting should coincide with the pre-monsoon showers, or just beginning of the rainy season in our plants, because that is very, very important. In waterlogged areas, if you want to take up the planting, the best is the post-monsoon period. No, because what happens, after the monsoon, if you take up planting, there will be adequate moisture in the soil that the plant can establish very conveniently. So nursery plants planted or trench, or whatever may be the, depending on the field condition. Remember, try to avoid water stagnation around the plant, and it is very, very important. So coming to intercropping, 4 years, first 2 to 4 years of planting, intercropping can be done depending upon the interspaces. So vegetables like cowpea, beans, ginger, turmeric, or even lady's finger can be cultivated as intercrop. So this intercropping, helps in weed management, stability to the exposed soil, and prevents soil erosion. Because in the initial 2 years, the management of weed is very, very important in bamboo plantations. If you could manage the weed properly, then after that, it will not encourage the crop, it will not allow the weed to take up further, and because of the shade created by that, the weed greater extent. Intercropping helps the farmers to get some revenues during the initial years of establishment. By keeping land vacant, he may not get any income, but if he goes for intercropping, he may get some returns, so that he can use that benefit. Next issue is clump management. For better productivity, it is very, very important, the management of clump. So it is critical, the appropriate management operations have to be carried out at right time to have the maximum benefit. Among the different issues, the soil management is very, very important. The first, use the soil around the plant to improve the aeration. preferably during March. So normally what happens, the new shoots or the young ones come somewhere else in the month of June, July, August for most of the bamboo species. Suppose if you take up, the loosening of soil, that improves aeration so that, and there will be good growth of the new young shoots which are coming from the bamboo clump. Then sufficient care should be taken not to damage the rhizomes. That is very, very important. In older clumps, after 6 to 8 years, loosening of the soil around the clump and mounding, that is around 30 to 60 centimeter just above the clump, just prior to the culm emergence is highly beneficial, so that you can get maximum culms from the clump. Then another important issue is mulching, because in order to minimize the water loss from the surface of the bamboo plantation, mulching with organic material, maybe leaf or maybe leaf and leaf sheath of bamboo or other material is leaf litter is ideal. Then sometimes what happens, at the later stage, the roots of two different clumps, they may come together and they form underground network of old and dead rhizomes. So to avoid this, the trenching has to be done in certain places. Depending upon the situation, the trenching has to be done. Then weeding, regular weeding in the initial 2 to 3 years for quicker establishment and faster growth of bamboo culms is very much essential, and weeding helps the plant, bamboo to grow much better way, because the nutrient which is held in the soil is available for the bamboo growth. Another important issue is fertilizer application. Now, as you are aware that bamboo is a heavy feeder of nutrient and responds well to the phosphorus, potassium, and especially nitrogen fertilizer application. So if you apply the fertilizer as per the requirement of the clump, one can expect much better growth. So fertilization should be done again within a period of 3 months after planting. The period of shoot bud differentiation is the suitable time of manuring. So if you are adding manure or if you are adding fertilizer, so one has to see that the shoot differentiation, that is the appropriate stage for application of fertilizer and manuring. Fertilizer should be applied in ditches around the clump when the soil has enough moisture, and then you cover with the soil. That is another important issue which need to be done in the better management of the bamboo clumps. Then some of the clump management activities are very much essential. Maybe the proper maintenance of clump not only improves the productivity, but also increases the hygiene of the plantation. So important aspects to be considered while clump management are some important operations, maybe cleaning, pruning, and thinning. These three are very, very important operations which need to be carried out at regular or as and when required, such that the clump hygiene is maintained and one can expect much better growth of the clump. So usually the first operation is cleaning. The younger ones are produced towards the outside the clump, and those in the old ones. What happens in certain years, a lot of culms will emerge or new shoots will emerge, but some of them may die and they will be so in order to reduce the the decay of such certain in the clump, it has to be cleaned properly. The older stumps have to be when the clump is around 4 to 5 years of age. all the dead and malformed culms, they should be, which are seen towards the inner side, have to be removed, and the clump should be left clean all the time. So cleaning of the clump is done by removing the dead and dying culms from the clump, and this will facilitate proper growth of new shoots. Next operation is pruning the branches in species. This in a species which has a tendency to produce large number of branches at the base of the clump. At the base of the clump, especially this Bambusa, Dendrocalmus brandisii, then Bambusa pulda, they require initial pruning, whereas Stockside does not require initial pruning. The pulda branches is 3-year-old and continue every year, preferably during the months of November to February, because most of the operations should be carried out during dry season, especially preferably during maybe somewhere else, during winter we can see. So regular pruning facilitates good aeration and light penetration to keep the hygiene. The clump hygiene is very important from the point of better growth and development of the clumps in plant. So next is thinning. So most of the time, what happens? The farmers, they grow or they plant and after that they forget. And so that will be many malformed, damaged culms, or sometimes very small, thin new shoots will be there, and they are always creating or hindering the growth of better culm development. So in order to ensure the healthy, they can really productive age without any congestion. In that is one has to go for thinning. You can see in the picture the above, the culm which was clump which was not subjected to thinning, and below you can see how the after thinning how the clump is looking like, and how the only the better one, the culms with better diameter are retained and others are removed. So it is very important to see that the clump should not be congested, because there should be proper aeration. So it is also important, this thinning provides space for working and act as stimulus for vigorous new culm production. So this is going to be a very crucial role from the point of increasing the productivity of our bamboo plantations. So this from the animals, wild animals, and grazing is another important thing. Bamboo plantation is susceptible to fire and grazing. So the litters, culm sheets, twigs, and branches, they attract fire. So if possible, keep the plantation moistened or have fire lines at 15 to 20 meter width. So it is very important that it is only fire which may affect the bamboo plantation. Even some, what to say is that pests, the protection against rodents, wild boar, and grazing animals is crucial. So in the initial year, especially, in the plantations, deer, rabbit, then wild boar, they are trying to destroy our plantation. So you have to be very careful. You have to protect them from such, animals. So initial 2 years protection from grazing animal is very much essential. The fencing of the plantation would avoid this grazing problem. So in certain places, especially if there is, wild boar menons, these wild boar menons will be there throughout the plantation life. So the best way is to, protect them by using either fish net, or in certain, especially in some part of food, they are using human cut hairs. After the from the barber salon, they collect the hairs and they put it on the bamboo clump. so that, if the wild boar, tries to come there, the cut hairs enters into its, nose, and it creates problem or nuisance to that. So fishnet could be useful in prevention of wild boar also. So next is irrigation. So irrigation, so important aspect to consider. Normally, the people will ask, what is the quantity of water that I have to feed? So definitely, with irrigation. So irrigation generally helps to increase the productivity at least by 3 times. So drip irrigation could be the ideal one. So of course, the requirement of water will vary with the local climatic conditions and type. So normally in the first year, bamboo clump, first year of planting, the bamboo clump less water per day. Water requirement would be around, of course, 3 to 4 liters. As in the subsequent years, the water requirement will be almost 3 to 4 times than that of per day water requirement is 3 to 4 times than that of the first year. In water scarce area, drip irrigation has been found cost effective, and it is highly beneficial also. One can think of going for drip irrigation. Next is the disease and pest management. So this is very, very important and very crucial in bamboo management. So there are several reports are there on various diseases, but in this region, 2 important diseases are common: is and other one is bamboo blight. Clump management operation is very much essential to avoid water stagnation and materials clump, in the clump, and the removal of rotten young shoots. Now these are all, the important issues so that the culm rot will not be seen. Then suppose if there is culm rot, kernel extract or neem oil, rate of 1,000 parts per million, 2 ml per liter need to be added or need to be used or the infected culms, so that the disease could be controlled to a greater extent. Next important is bamboo blight. So cutting and removing of blight affected culms, burning the debris of clumps in situ, and addition of new soil around the clump, and the light surface fire are the some of the possible measures of controlling this bamboo blight. Apart from that, drenching the soil around the bamboo clump with Pseudomonas fluorescens, that is 5 grams per liter, and the later treat the clumps with 20% of microbial consortia with trichoderma, that say 200 grams per liter, which is desirable to check this bamboo blight disease. So these are all the important 2 diseases which are commonly noticed in this region. So this can be, controlled with cultural operations as well as chemical control or use of biological organisms like Pseudomonas inflorescens and Trichoderma by doing that. So this is the important test. So in bamboo cultivation, there are certain pests, especially leaf miner and leaf eating caterpillar. Nowadays they are being reported. So that is not major. One can ignore certain. If it is severe, one can think of applying certain chemical fertilizers, so chemicals, or to control the pest, or one can go for organic. Again, it is neem-based organic. Pesticides are available. One can think of applying that. So next is, the harvesting of bamboo. Once the bamboo clumps are established and reach the productive stage, the proper harvesting technique and schedule should be followed in order to ensure continuous production of bamboo shoots for a longer period, because that is very, very important. One has to develop a systematic harvesting procedure for harvesting of culms every year from the clump, so that there will be appropriate, or we can say the continuous supply of bamboo clumps, bamboo comes to the end user, and at the same time there will be continuous, emergence of new straight shoots which are healthy from the point of bamboo production. Depending on the species, harvesting has to be started. Sometimes in certain species it can start at the 4th year, or some certain species can start at the 8th year, depending upon the species. Harvesting of well-managed culms can be done annually on a culm selection system. We say that culm selection system, only the matured culms will be harvested and rest will be retained. Harvesting of mature bamboo culm, usually the 70% of the culm should be harvested. Usually they are more than 3-year-old. That is very, very important. And certain proportion of older culms are to be retained to protect the new culms in order to ensure their proper growth. So hence, it is always important, only one has to harvest the 70% of the older culms in the clump, so that the rest of the culms in the clump will help the younger one to grow in a better way. Then when you are following this harvesting, all culms, of the more than 4-year-old should be removed. And each culm, in each clump, a few old culms equal to the number of new culms must be retained. Then clump should never be so overcrowded that culms touch, one should not touch it, or there should not be any, what to say is, there should not be the culms one over the other, or should not touch each other, so that there is a chance of getting fire because of the, continuous, friction between them. The culm should not be cut lower than the first node above the ground level. That is another important issue. The damaged, dead and dry culms, debris and cut branches should be removed. The leading exterior culms may not be cut even if they are malformed. That is another important issue, because we have to see that we should not cut the exterior culms, because what happens is they are very much essential for the production of the shoot in the coming years. So in case of flowered culms, this harvesting should be done after seed shedding. That is very, very important, because that seed, that will be a source of regeneration or the propagule for the next cycle of bamboo production. So in order to have this proper harvesting method, the culms are to be harvested the middle of the clump, and for that purpose, there are two important methods. One is cross-tunnel pattern of harvesting, and other one is horseshoe pattern of harvesting of culms. The first one, cross-tunnel pattern of harvesting. So normally, for the harvesting of bamboo culms, so the nets are made through the center of the clump, dividing the clump into 4 sections. Culms are to be removed selectively from all the 4 sections in such a way that there is enough space between 2 retained culms. You can see the picture which I am showing. Here the cross tunnels are done, created by cutting the culms in this portion and in this portion, maybe east to west and north to south, and then the culms which are seen in this portion, they are old, and the culms which are seen in this portion are young. So one can harvest them gradually like this, so that without affecting the new shoot production, one can harvest the culms from the clump. So another method is horseshoe pattern of felling. Here the clump is worked in horseshoe pattern of felling, easy working. An opening of the clump is made opposite to where the maximum production of new culms is noticed. Suppose if the new product, the maximum production is this side, So the clump will be opened by cutting the culms in the clump. So like this, it will be looking like horseshoe, like horseshoe. All old clumps are all old culms are including dry and rotten stumps from the interior of the clump are removed, leaving only 1 year old straight and vigorously growing culms along with the number of straight and evenly spaced older culms. So this is in brief about bamboo cultivation. If you have anything to be clarified, you can ask.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Hegde. That was a detailed presentation. Yes, any question and answers? Sorry, we'll move to a question and Q&A session right now. Any questions from the audience?
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Sir, we can hear you.
Hello. During the operation of thinning and pruning,
Yes, sir.
how would you done both pruning and thinning during the early stages of bamboo cultivation?
Yes, sir. So normally, first let me explain pruning. So normally what we do is up to 4 to 5 feet height from the ground, all the branches can be removed so that there will be proper aeration and the clump what you see, the aeration. Otherwise, there will be a lot of dampiness, and that attracts fungus to grow, and that is going to affect growth of the clump. So the 3 to 4 years, first 3 to 4 years, one can take up this operation, but up 5 feet from the ground, one can remove the branches. Is it clear, sir? After year of plantation establishment. Is it clear, sir? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. I am a Giriraj from Maharashtra. Maharashtra Bamboo Promotion Foundation.
Sir, please
in Maharashtra, there is a lot of.
Yes, sir. I heard of you, sir.
Can I? Are you able to hear me?
Sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead with questions.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Lot of enthusiasm or interest in Tulda species. Do you think because it is normally identified with Northeast? What is the response in Karnataka or for this Tulda? Because it is little new, but everybody is very keen because of its unique properties. It can be used in agarbatti, etc. Do you think it can be cultivated in a big way in agroclimate of Karnataka or Maharashtra?
Yes, sir. In humid region, it can come up very well, sir. I think I have shown you in my presentation, I have shown the Tulda plantation. Already some farmers in Kurg, they have harvested already. So there are certain issues which we address. People are thinking that it is used for agarbatti sticks. Yes, no doubt about that. But in my opinion, when you grow Tulda as on a commercial basis, first 20 feet land should go for construction purpose. And only the above portion, the leftover portion, should go for agarbatti sticks making. And coming back to the agarbatti sticks, because we tried in our campus, because we have Bamboo Resource Center. I'm thankful to the National Bamboo Mission of Karnataka chapter. They provided Bamboo Resource Center campus. And in that we tried, the recovery rate is also very, very important, because in some places, the thickness, wall thickness is very, very important. So in our case, we got around 16% recovery rate. Suppose if you say if you use 1 kilogram of tulda bamboo, and if you convert, you'll be getting 160 grams of sticks, because that is also going to play a crucial role from the point of using for agarbatti sticks. Coming to the growth pattern, so far it is encouraging.
Okay.
Especially in the humid region, I'm saying humid region. In humid region, it is fantastic. In Maharashtra, I think it can come up in the part of Konkan where you do a very high rain. So I think it can come up.
Sorry, Zach, one more question is you have mentioned that about irrigation for cultivated bamboo, but is because many of the farmers here have land, they are living in urban. The category of people who are interested in bamboo cultivation in Maharashtra are, if I may say so,
Yes,
non-resident farmers. They have 40-30 acres in the rural areas, and they since due to labor shortage and all, many want to grow bamboo, but they may not be investing for irrigation. Can bamboo grown in, because cultivated bamboo is a very new phenomena in India. It has happened only after 2017. There may be here and there some work. So about in Maharashtra, my assessment is about 8,000 to 9,000 hectares have come in the last 3 or 4 years. So is
Can you hear me,
irrigation
sir?
compulsory?
Sir, if you provide irrigation, the growth will be very good, sir. So as I mentioned, see, if you are getting, say, 1 ton, if you provide irrigation, you can get 3 tons, almost 3 times. So I think in that option, so the drip irrigation could be the ideal. Of course, it depends on the area. See, for example, in certain parts of Karnataka, irrigation is not required. It comes up very well with the, with the rainfall and all those things, with the available moisture in the soil in high rainfall areas, especially parts of Coorg and Shimoga and other places. Maybe I can say in hilly area or in Malnad region, what we say in Karnataka, maybe Sayadri belt of Maharashtra. So I think irrigation may not be required to a greater extent. But if you want to have the maximum growth during the summer, if you give adequate irrigation or adequate water supply, the growth of the bamboo culms will be excellent.
So can I add with your permission?
Yes, sir, please.
Giriraj sir, one thing the absentee farmers can do is before planting, let them prepare their land for rainwater harvesting. There are a couple of methods. One, the famous one is the Chauka method, which is promoted by Dr. Anna Hazare. And the second method, which is also proving very effective, is the Bungru method. Okay. Both the methods, I can share the YouTube. If you just Google both of them, you will get their information. So it is highly recommended that they prepare their lands for rainwater harvesting before they plant bamboo. So this way, conservation of water is also taken care, and bamboo yield also will improve as the time passes by. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. With this, I think we're really short of time. Dr. Hegde tried to complete the presentation within the allocated time. If not for the technical challenges, we would have had more time for the Q&A. With this, I would like to invite Shri Dr. K.N. Murthy to give the vote of thanks. Dr. K.N. Murthy, please.
Yeah. Good morning to all the people who are at this webinar. I am very thankful to the Ramakrishna Hegde. He has given an exhaustive account of how to cultivate this bamboo. I think most of the doubts would have been clarified. Nevertheless, we will have a series of seminars in which if there are any other persistent doubts, we can always get the things clarified. Otherwise, also members are free to email their queries, and we'll certainly pose them to the resource persons and get the clarifications.
Sir, can I add a point, sir?
Sure, why not?
People, see, if you have anything to be clarified on bamboo cultivation, every day between 5:30 to 6:30, I am available over telephone for telephonic conversation. This is I am always sharing with my farmers, and I entertain between that time, because other time, I may be busy with some classes or some other work or some other assignment. So to avoid that, every day 5:30 to 6:30, so I'll be available for the farmers or the interested people on bamboo cultivation. This is my, you can note down my mobile number also, 944
944
831
831
2978.
2978.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank
That
you.
is very nice of Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, because you are.
Thank you.
Hello, your number, please.
Yeah, it has been flashed. Maybe our secretary Saab will again share it in the message box. So I thank on behalf of Bamboo Society of India, Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, for giving an excellent speech on the cultivation aspects of bamboo. I think he speaks, he has spoken from his personal experience, because I know the Ponnamppet Forest College has been doing a lot of work, and a lot of bamboo is coming up in and around the Forestry College, Ponnamppet. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.